You are a mystery to this person, and this really turns them on with the High Priestess. This is somebody that recognizes that you are not just an open book with everyone. Access to like the internal you, the real you, who you are beyond facades and pleasantries, that is a privilege that needs to be earned. That it's like the chosen few are able, most likely, to kind of pass through a series of tests, challenges, in order to kind of like access the true depth and nature of your personality. You definitely gatekeep yourself, which it feels like, again, is a real big turn on to this person. They may be somebody who's a very private person. They could be an introverted person. They're not looking for someone who's with this like huge gregarious personality. They're not looking for a gossip. They're not looking for someone that is just going to, immediately befriend everybody that they meet. This person sees, because maybe they've experienced personally how it's like you have these very firm boundaries and you're not afraid to put those in place. You expect people to show up very consistently, and then there are bits of yourself that you offer forth, or there's invitations to come in closer. And so this is somebody that is not intimidated by the fact that they have to work to kind of like earn your trust or to earn that access to the internal you. Because there's something that is like, that's an unsung quality that they almost anticipate you might have gotten some pushback about that. People might have encountered you and been like, that's a really cold person, that's a stuck up person, that's somebody that's very like hard to read. Something that it's almost like this person sees that it's actually the opposite of that. That you are someone with a high degree of self-respect, a high degree of self-love. You have standards that are likely in place because you learn the hard way what it means to not have that, what it means to just let everybody or anybody kind of like get into those internal sort of layers of who you are. They see this as something that the way in which you carry or present it, that you've developed this for a reason. And so there's a lot of respect that this person has for you and for this phenomenon about you. This is something where this person is almost trying to kind of suss out how to approach you moving forward. Not how can I manipulate my way through these boundaries, but how can I honor what I am seeing here and now within this person, which I find to be a very attractive quality, a very desirous quality. Something where I know that even if we are friendly with the world, that what happens between the two of us stays between the two of us, that there are aspects to the two of us that are just for us. It's not for everyone. So this is something that this person is like, they want to move towards you. They want to cultivate something with you. They see that the experience with you romantically that can develop, and again, just like getting to know one another on those deeper layers that not everybody knows about, that is something that's very special. That is something that's very much in alignment with what they are seeking in a partner. This could be somebody that like works in the public eye or in some kind of position where it's like they're known within the community. They deal with people a lot. This could be something that they are famous or like somewhat famous or well known, and so it's like the public persona, that is something that they have to wear that face very often. And so this person values the fact that there is not like secrets about them, but there's like a whole other aspect to who they are, like the real them, that is sacred. That's like a place of sanctuary when they don't have to be going through the motions of, like performing or living up to other people's expectations, or how they're expected to kind of present in that sort of public sense. It's almost like they're able to relax into sort of that quieter aspect of themselves. And they really value that. They really value that kind of sacred space, that kind of private aspect of who they are. And so they've been looking in terms of like a partner, like a romantic partner, somebody that doesn't just respect that aspect about them, but somebody that also aligns with that. So you may have a very similar experience. You could be, well known within your niche, professionally speaking, well known within your community, famous or semi-famous. And so it's like there is this public version of us that people have come to understand or to expect, but then there's almost like the more human side to who we are, kind of more of the deeper layers or nuances of who we are as people that doesn't need to be showcased outward, because we're already giving so much of ourselves, or are already so much in the spotlight in a relative sense in the day-to-day reality, that it's part of almost like balance or self-care to have that aspect that is just, it's privileged kind of access, it's private information, it's kind of like who you both can be behind closed doors. And so this is somebody that sees you very much align with that need in a partnership. Like that is kind of like a non-negotiable quality that they've been looking for, because it feels like this is somebody that has dated people that were like the opposite of that. Might have shared a lot of their business, just opened up to whoever, was kind of like, was an open book, somebody who just overshared a lot of stuff, and it made this person like very uncomfortable. It made them have to like step into an aspect of themselves, or even kind of tense up and sort of close off in a way that it didn't feel natural. It didn't feel good for them. So at this point in their life, it's like, I need someone that has that same kind of threshold of tolerance, that can, kind of segment out the way in which people are interacted with, that kind of that deeper self, that inner self, more of that authentic self, that's something that is earned, that's something that, to be very selective and kind of like who gets to experience that, not from a place of like self-righteousness, but it's almost like self-preservation and self-respect. And so whatever you've showcased to this person, especially if you put up like a boundary with them, at a certain point, this is like they see and they recognize that kindred spirit energy. They are not thwarted by that. They're not turned off by that. It's almost like now they're taking like a different perspective to you in this situation. Like, okay, I see that we are kind of operating on the same frequency. So in the interest of kind of getting that bigger degree of access to you, and in turn kind of softening into a place where I will allow you to kind of like get to know the real me, or the inner me, kind of the, after hours me, so to speak, this is something that we're having to take kind of like a longer approach, or a more patient approach to this situation. So it's not fear that's holding this person back. It's almost like knowing that that kind of gatekeeping of the personality, or layers of the personality, or the direct experience with one another, that's something that can only be bypassed through patience, and through kind of like, I respect these boundaries, and I will wait until you kind of like open up, or give me that signal, or let me know that it's okay to proceed forward. And this person feels very empowered to kind of honor that requirement, or that quality within themselves as well, as far as you are concerned. Yeah, we've also got the Knight of Pentacles. So again, this is somebody that still wants something more with you. This is somebody, it feels like you still have interactions with to a certain level, but it may feel like it's just kind of, it's sort of plateaued. It's something that may be just very like surface level. Not a whole lot has been discussed as far as like emotions are concerned, but this is somebody that definitely has like a big degree of attraction to you. They see that on a very kind of like practical self-care level, there's a lot of alignment between the two of you. That energy of kind of like, I am self-protective, but not like putting up such a strong armor that I push away the potential for happiness. That's something within the two of you that really aligns in a very precise way. Like they sense that kindred spirit energy about you. And so it's almost like they're looking at themselves at this point and kind of like, what would I need in another person in order to be able to kind of reach that space within, where I'm giving myself permission to open up. I'm giving myself permission to invite someone further into my reality and into my life. And the slow and steady approach is what this person has deferred to, or what they require in order for trust to be built, in order for even kind of like a sense of just almost like instinctually kind of like softening up to the experience of like, okay, I'm inviting someone in closer to my world and into my reality. It's not something where I just force that. It's almost something that I allow myself to allow that to happen. That's the mindset. That's the approach here. And so there's a part of them that is almost like hopeful that you will sort of pick up on that's what they're doing at this point in time. This may be somebody who's getting ready to take a slight step forward to invite you in closer, or to, make that known that it's kind of like we are where we are with one another at this point in time, but this isn't the only thing that I want. And in order to get to that place where we can build like a deeper intimacy, there is this kind of like road of trust that we are building with one another steadily, day by day, honoring that kind of layered experience of our reality, where it's like everybody we meet's not a friend, that it's kind of like there are acquaintances, there are business associates, there's coworkers, then there's friends, and then there's family, and then there's, people even kind of in deeper layers as far as those criteria are concerned. Like this person is trying to sort of take this approach to this situation of like, I would like to experience something with you. I sense a lot of potential with you to kind of not just fulfill one another's needs on that sort of like surface level. Like, I find you attractive, I find you sexy, I find you interesting, I like spending time with you, I think you're a good person. But more that sense of that the internal reality within them will move towards you and will open up in such a way that it invites you in closer. And so this is somebody that's almost kind of like, they're assuming that this is something from the vibe that they're picking up on you, or what they're reading, or what they've experienced with you so far in like terms of boundaries that you put up. This is something that's like, I think this approach will really resonate with you. When we take that next step forward and we keep taking those like successive steps forward, I think this is going to be something that, like, as my internal mechanism kind of unlocks to allow something more in this situation, I feel like there's going to be a corresponding effect with you as well. So this is somebody that is definitely like, they're taking a leadership role. They're taking charge of this situation at this point, even though it feels like it's kind of, a slow and steady energy, or kind of just respecting one another's personal space, or kind of like a threshold or a limit that has been reached. But it's somebody that is definitely looking towards the future potentials, kind of like, okay, we'll hang out here in this sort of holding pattern for a while, and then we'll take another step forward. Then it will be time to kind of like cross over that comfort zone, experience sort of the uncomfortability of putting ourselves out there, allowing another into our internal world, closer to that true self than we have before, or than has occurred already in this experience between the two of you. But this is somebody that wants to kind of move with you into a higher level experience with one another, not just something that is like, temporary and kind of makes the two of you very uncomfortable, or sort of like, leads to toxicity or regrets, but it's almost something that it's kind of like, okay, let's start to develop in these deeper layers with one another, respective of like, who we really are as people, these boundaries that are in place for a very good reason, so that as we are able to hopefully create something with one another, it honors both the requirements of those surface level selves, and how we're needing to show up so much in a particular way for the world for a variety of reasons, that the other side of the coin, that aspect of balance, is this kind of like guardedness, or the sense of like gatekeeping that kind of internal personality, not just letting anybody in through the door, kind of like open access. That it's sort of like to get into those deeper layers, it takes time, it takes trust. It takes like a very particular sort of dynamic, or kind of like a conjunction between two people. And so far this person feels like you two are aligning very much for that to be possible. And so with wherever you're at right now, it's like they definitely envision like more than this, opening up more, letting you in more. Yeah, we also have temperance. So again, this is somebody that it's, they're patient with this. They are hopeful that you will also be patient with them. This is not somebody that is holding back because of fears. And this is not someone that is trying to like hold on to control in order to like play some kind of mind game. This is really somebody that is kind of like, they've been through whatever experiences they've been through in life that has created this sense within of like, there are parts of me that I can't open up immediately to people that I meet, new people that I meet. I've learned the hard way what that results in, or kind of like what that does to my own peace, my own state of mind, my own serenity. People that I've been quick to let in and haven't sort of vetted them out, like if we're a really good match for one another. if we're aligned with that sense of, again, somebody that's very private, somebody that's an introvert, somebody that is just kind of like, I don't let all this personal information about me be known. Like, people know me, but not everybody like really knows me, and so they're looking for somebody that gets that, not just respects that, but operates on that same frequency according to those same principles. And so they're seeing that this is something that it's possible between the two of you. You seem like somebody so far in everything that they know, everything that they've experienced, that it's like that surface level personality. It's friendly, it's pleasant, it's personable, but there are definitely deeper layers to you. They can see that when they look into your eyes, even that it's like you are a person with a lot of depth. You are a person that with a lot of sensitivity. You are a person that clearly has a very rich internal world, and this person loves the fact that you are not just kind of like letting whoever into that, because it aligns so much with where they are at in their life. So they are hoping, that you will kind of like pick up on the signals that they're giving, that you will sort of, allow this person to kind of honor their personal process of leading the two of you forth into that place of like a greater understanding, greater intimacy, greater closeness with one another. Because they're trying to honor their own sort of like boundaries and the need to gatekeep, but then there's also something that they're kind of picking up on, like they're sensing that would be something important or good to you as well. So even if you've been very enthusiastic, very chatty, very like, yeah, let's hang out, let's get to know one another, it's like this person can see something inside of you that almost would value someone that would take the time to make sure you were really comfortable with letting someone in close, giving someone access to like the truth of who you are as a person. Because if you are anything like them, that given away quickly or frivolously or carelessly had led in the past to like unnecessary heartbreaks or experiences of like, ooh, that was a mistake, wish I could erase that, wish I could have a do-over, wish I had done something different. And so this is somebody that doesn't want to, regardless if this is like long-term forever connection or somebody that you just like have a romantic experience with for a period of time, this is somebody that wants to make sure as best as they can that they are not somebody that creates like a lot of emotional wreckage or regret for you. And they also don't want you to be somebody, where they're moving too quickly and, it's kind of like too close for comfort, and something happens where, it's sort of like, okay, then they're shutting down. Then it's like an unhealthy kind of wall that's put up. Then you walk away from one another feeling like that was a really bad experience. Like they don't want that to happen for either of you. So this is almost somebody that's keeping like the future potentials in mind, like the long-term potential, by really honoring kind of their own instincts at this particular point in time, and applying that to what they almost feel unstated by you is something that it's like, as we progress forward in this like slow and steady fashion, as we kind of lean into the energy of patience with whatever can evolve next, that as trust is built, it'll be more deep seated than if that were just something given quickly. As we open up to one another, as we build that bond, as we have more of that intimacy, we have our, layers of like our interactions with one another, and then we take a step deeper into that experience to spend time kind of savoring that moment of, the acceleration or the deepening of the connection. This is something that this person feels like this would be a really good strategy or formula to try and ensure kind of like the best possible experience, something that's very fulfilling and very comfortable for the two of you in a long-term sense. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.